if you're just looking at the pattern and you're placing your pieces, here you go. Here's what you have. And if I were using heat and bond, I'd use lots of steam now and steam all my pictures on. So that's all there is for layering with heat and bond. But if you're using the freezer paper method, you've got to tack down all these pieces. And you can see that you wouldn't want this little sheep there until after you had whip stitched probably to here and to here, and then I tuck the little legs. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pin on the shapes that I know I can whip stitch in place. So nothing's going over the cloud, so I'm going to go ahead and pin these on. I can also pin the daisy on because I can whip stitch the daisy around the edge, and I can also whip stitch the wool center in the middle. A lot of people ask us if you have to go through all the layers of wool when you're whip stitching something like the center of the daisy. And the answer is no, you only have to go through the layer that the wool is attached to. Can you see on this one, I can't have this guy on because I've got to whip stitch this entire flag on first. So I'm going to pin the flag just so I have it in place, but I am going to go ahead and pin my my post where I want it, because I'm going to want to whip stitch that in place. These little pins I'm using are Clover applique pins. I really like Prairie House applique pins, but I do use these often because I like to find things that are a good price point, and the applique pins are definitely one of those. I'm going to go ahead and pin this upper grass on. I'm going to pin it like this, and sometimes I'll even like pin it down, and then once I get those in place, just so I kind of hold my pieces together, I'll let that flop over, because after I get all these pieces that I just showed you whipped on, I'll whip stitch this grass on. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that on. I can whip stitch this. Now about the edge, this is going to be a mat, and sometimes I'll do like a quick tack down whip stitch on the edge just to hold everything in place, but I am going to be blanket stitching around the entire mat. And is how I do that is I do put a piece of heat and bond on the back piece of the mat, and I just gently steam the back to the front, so it makes it easy to hold in place while I'm blanket stitching around. You can just use applique pins if you don't want to have any heat and bond. Heat and bond does flatten your wool some. I found when I only use it on the back that I don't notice a lot of flattening, but you need to know that that can happen. Okay, it is easy to make mistakes. So the little sheep legs are going to go into here. So I am going to pin this back so I remember that the sheep legs go in here. Then I'm going to place my sheep and do those very last. So that's how you layer your wool. Okay, so now we've got everything whip stitched in place. Now it's time to decorate. And I did the blanket stitch right along here. I just made sure that instead of what we normally do and put the blanket stitch with the stem going down, I turned it so the stem would, the leg of the stitch would be up. I wanted to show you, I really love learning new things, and this one's been kind of fun for me. This is flat braid, and you can, this one's been hand dyed. You can see it's got a lot of different colors, but you can make different things with it. I want to show you how to use the flat braid. So it's what I did is you normally have to do it at least double or triple the length. When you look at your stem, you've got to have, I usually do 3 times the length just in case I need that much. And then you're going to kind of tap on the edges and pull. You can do it with 1 thread. I happen to grab 2, so I'm just going to use them. But can you see how that just goes down and ruches this flat braid? And you can make it as tight or as thin as you want. See how I'm just kind of pulling it to how wide that I want it. And I did not bring my scissors in here. We've got grandkids and they keep interrupting, so I wanted to have it quiet for you. Now I want to couch it in place. So the other technique that you're going to learn today is couching. Now couching is really fun because you can couch yarn, you can couch a bigger size thread. It's just fun because anything that you want to do that's thicker is fun to do for, like I say, stems. We could have used it for the flagpole. It just gives our project a little bit more depth. So now I'm just going to come couching. Basically is tacking something down. So I'm going to come up where I want to do my first stitch, and really simply all I'm going to do is go over it and put a little stitch. So can you see I've just kind of done a little straight stitch. I'm using some matching thread, but see how that pulled it together so cute. So I'm going to come up again, and then I'm just going to go over the stem and couch it into place. So it makes a really super fun little flower stem. And I love this again because it's hand dyed. So you'll find whenever we're doing anything, like I'll kind of show you, I started doing these flowers, and the thread is a little bright. So oftentimes when we're creating something, we stitch it over and over because we want to get the right color. And so don't ever feel like you have to stick with the color we pick, or you can totally make these projects your own. So there we go. I am going to go out and cut the end off here and tuck it in, and then I'll have my flower stem all nicely couched. So that's a little lesson on couching and ruching, really, with flat braid, which is fun. So there you go. Now, before I stop, now I'm going to go back and whip stitch around the daisy, and I'm going to whip stitch this grass back into place. So, all right,